Okay, so let's talk about this. You're starting high school sports, first time ever.
Yeah,
And whether you've played, a bunch before or this is totally new, it's a big step,
it really is a significant shift.
Suddenly you've got new teammates, coaches who might be different, practices that maybe feel way more intense.
Uh-huh. And the competition level can be a real jump, too.
Exactly. It's this mix, like it's exciting, but also, let's be honest, maybe a little bit daunting. There's just a lot to figure out.
For sure. And it's not just the physical stuff, the skills or the conditioning.
Right.
There's this whole new social side, figuring out the team dynamics,
Yeah.
what the coach actually expects, how to handle pressure in this new environment.
Absolutely. Which is exactly why we wanted to do this deep dive today. We've been digging into some, frankly, really fascinating source material,
Hmm.
specifically some excerpts from a book called Start With Why.
Ah, okay. Good stuff.
Yeah. And our mission, really, is to unpack the core ideas in there and see how they might give you a totally fresh perspective on this whole high school sports thing you're starting.
Going beyond just the drills and the scores.
Exactly. Getting past the how you play or what sport it is and digging into something maybe a bit deeper, something that could help you not just, get through it, but actually thrive, find some real fulfillment in it.
Finding those sort of foundational principles, things that can anchor you in this new experience, make it more meaningful, maybe regardless of the wins and losses right away.
Okay, so let's unpack this main idea. The big concept from the source material is this idea of starting with your why.
Right, the purpose.
Yeah, the author talks about how truly inspiring leaders or movements or even companies, they always start with their purpose, their cause, their core belief.
That why comes first,
Yeah.
before they figure out how they'll do it or what they'll actually produce or achieve.
And it's interesting because that feels kind of backwards sometimes, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Especially in sports.
Totally. We're so often focused on the what, like what sport, what position are you, what are your stats looking like?
Or the how. How's your technique? How do you
Ah.
execute this play? How much are you practicing?
But this perspective argues that, the lasting satisfaction, the real inspiration, it comes from understanding your why.
So for you, the listener, it's like asking, why are you choosing this? Why put on that uniform? Why show up for that really early practice?
Yeah, why dedicate all these hours right now at this stage of your life to this particular thing?
It's easy to get caught up in the outside stuff, right? Making varsity, getting playing time, winning the championship.
Sure, those are goals.
But if that's the only reason you're there, the book suggests this can feel a bit hollow, especially when things get tough.
Mm-hmm. And things will get tough sometimes.
Right. So the book talks about how connecting back to your why is like crucial for keeping that passion alive, especially if you hit challenges or feel burnt out.
So if practice feels like a total grind one week, or you're maybe not getting the minutes you hoped for,
Or even if you just lost a really big game.
connecting back to that deeper reason, that why, is what helps you keep showing up, keep putting in the effort with some kind of meaning behind it.
And this connects directly to inspiration, doesn't it? The material points out that real leaders inspire people to act because they give them a sense of purpose.
A sense of belonging that's tied to that why. People follow not just for external rewards, but because they believe in the cause themselves. They want to be part of it.
Okay, so let's translate that. For you, stepping onto this high school team for the first time, how does this apply?
Well, if you can tap into your personal why for being there,
What could that be? Like maybe the personal growth from pushing limits.
yeah, or the unique challenge of mastering that sport. Maybe it's about being part of something bigger than just yourself.
Or building those really strong bonds with teammates, that camaraderie.
Whatever it is for you, finding that internal reason becomes this powerful source of inspiration. Inspiration to act, to show up, to put in the work.
And that motivation, it's not really dependent on the score, is it? Or what the coach thinks day to day.
Exactly. It's internal. It's yours. And the material suggests that when individuals on a team are driven by that kind of why, well, it creates a different kind of environment.
How so?
People actually love being part of it. They're more engaged, more willing to go the extra mile, maybe more creative in figuring things out on the field or court.
So that individual inspiration, the one rooted in purpose, it actually lifts the whole team.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
It contributes to a much stronger, more positive team dynamic overall.
Okay, this next part is Really interesting. And honestly, maybe a little tricky when you're in a totally new situation like this.
Hmm.
The author talks about assumptions, how our behavior, our decisions, they're massively shaped by the assumptions we hold.
Right. We act based on how we perceive the world,
Mm.
which might not always be the actual reality.
Yeah, even if you think you have solid info, some underlying assumption you're not even aware of can totally lead you down the wrong path.
And this is so incredibly relevant for you, starting out on a high school team. Just think about it for a second.
What assumptions might you be carrying right now? Like maybe you're assuming the coach plays favorites.
Or that the older players won't really accept you. Or that you're, I don't know, not quite skilled enough yet.
Or maybe the opposite. Maybe you're assuming you're going to walk on and be a star right away.
Right. And those assumptions, positive or negative, they can kind of build walls, can't they? Or create blind spots.
Totally. Like if you assume a teammate is standoffish, maybe you don't even try to connect and you miss out.
Or if you assume any critical feedback from the coach is like a personal attack.
Yeah, then you might not actually learn from it. You just get defensive.
Stepping into high school sports, it's a big unknown. It's just so easy to project what you think it's going to be like onto the actual situation.
So the big takeaway here seems to be really careful about what you think you know in this new place.
Yeah, hold those assumptions kind of loosely. Be open. Observe what's really happening.
Yeah.
Learn from the actual experience. Adjust your view as you go.
Don't let some story you've cooked up in your head dictate how you act or feel before you even have the full picture.
Exactly. Which actually leads really nicely into the next idea from the source material.
Which is?
Engineering the outcome you want by starting with your why.
Okay, engineering the outcome. What does that mean in this context?
Well, the idea isn't just reacting when things go wrong. Like getting super upset after a loss or a bad practice.
We'd all do that sometimes.
Of course. But this is about being more proactive. You actually define the outcome you want from the whole experience right from the start.
And that desired outcome is rooted in your why.
Precisely. And then the decisions you make day to day, how you act, how you react, are based on that clear intention.
And if the result isn't quite what you hoped for, like you don't win the game or you don't hit that personal best,
You don't just get stuck on the failure. You look back at the decision making. Was it aligned with your original why? Where did things diverge? It's a learning process based on your intention.
okay, so let's apply that. What outcome are you really aiming for from high school sports? Beyond just, the wins and losses column.
Is your personal why focused on maybe becoming a better leader on the team or mastering a really difficult skill?
Or is it about building those friendships that last?
Yeah.
Developing resilience, learning the discipline it takes to show up consistently.
Whatever that deeper outcome is for you.
Your why.
Yeah. If that's your focus, then your daily choices start to line up. How hard do you push in this drill? How do you support a teammate who's struggling, even if you're sitting on the bench?
How do you respond when the coach gives you tough feedback or when you face a setback?
If your why is about growth and contribution, those choices become clearer. You're actively shaping your experience based on that core purpose.
The author makes a really great point, too, about valuing the things we cannot see.
Oh, that's so true in sports, isn't it?
Totally. It's valuing the character you're building, the teamwork you're fostering, the resilience you gain when things are hard.
The sheer effort you put in day after day. These are those invisible outcomes, but they're incredibly valuable.
They're the why for a lot of people, rather than just focusing only on the scoreboard or the stat sheet.
So by starting with that why and using it as your guide for decisions, you're essentially setting yourself up for a much more meaningful, more fulfilling experience. One that you've, in a way, engineered yourself based on what matters to you.
So wrapping this up, as you get ready to jump into this whole new world of high school sports, just remember this. Showing up and just going through the motions, focusing only on the what sport and the how to play.
That might get you through it.
Yeah, it might get you through.
Yeah.
But it might not bring that deep satisfaction you're maybe hoping for.
But if you consciously take the time to identify and really start with your why,
Your core purpose, your belief, your real intention for being part of this team, this sport.
you really do have the power to fundamentally change that experience.
It can be like your compass, right? When things get inevitably tough.
Yeah, or your bridge to connect more genuinely with your teammates and coaches.
And maybe the source of a much deeper satisfaction that comes from the effort itself, from the journey, not just the final score.
Yes, absolutely. Understanding that core motivation, it gives you stability, especially when maybe those assumptions we talked about start clouding things, or the
Mm.
results aren't quite there yet.
It lets you build an experience based on what truly matters to you. You're not just reacting to whatever happens externally.
You're driving it from within.
So here's a final thought to maybe chew on as you step onto that field or court or track for the first time.
Okay.
How might consciously thinking about and pursuing your why in sports, how might those lessons transfer over to other parts of your life?
Hmm. Interesting question.
Like, what else are you doing right now in school, with friends,
Yeah.
other activities, where understanding your fundamental why might be just as crucial, not just for success, maybe, but for finding that genuine fulfillment?
Something to definitely think about as you start this new adventure.